Swift.
Hello and welcome to Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Match Day. There's a big game happening as the World Cup heads to Kolkata. I've got Shane Bond with me to discuss the match between the Netherlands and Bangladesh. So the teams don't have a lot of points, but they're pretty arch rivals, right?
Well, it should be a close game. I mean, Netherlands, outside of the game against Australia, have played really consistent cricket, and Bangladesh, you'd say, has probably been the opposite. They've been inconsistent, but you've also got an associate country against what has been a test-playing nation for a long time, so you would think that Bangladesh would be hot favourites going in. But in terms of the way they've played their cricket, both teams sitting on the same amount of points, there's actually plenty to play for, staying alive in the tournament, and then obviously those ranking points looking forward to the next World Cup as well.
Yeah, and not just the way that they play their cricket on the field, but also some of the events off the field. So we know that the Dutch have stuck to a really close-knit kind of communal way of approaching cricket. But Shakib Al Hasan earlier this week jetted off home to have a one-day net session with his childhood mentor. What would that have done to the Bangladesh camp?
Oh, it's not a great... We talked about leadership in terms of on the field. To me, that doesn't speak highly of leadership off the field as well. I mean, just leaving the team to go home, the team is still training, they're still in camp, there's a lot to talk about in terms of staying alive in the tournament. It doesn't make sense. You wouldn't probably allow 15 players all to leave to go to Bangladesh. And then on the flip side, why wouldn't you just bring your coach into the camp and do something like that to train? So I don't know whether that's a bit of a smoke screen for something else, but it perhaps speak to some wider issues with the Bangladesh team, which I think the Dutch, who obviously come off a poor game and have acknowledge that, you would expect to see a big lift and a much better improvement in this game.
And is there a little bit of a microscope on Shakib, not just the captain but also the batter and perhaps even the bowler?
Yeah, I think so. I think also at the age he is, and we've talked about England and what may happen post this tournament, I think that he falls into that category, the way Bangladesh have performed here. And, you know, there's also the pressure now, the expectation that they should beat the Dutch. So, you know, Bangladesh always come into tournaments with high hopes that they're going to push and challenge. Been a test-playing nation now for 20 years. It's been a long time, and they're still under-delivering at the big tournaments. So they really need to put in a good performance tomorrow.
And the Netherlands also had pretty high expectations. They spoke about the semi-finals. I think maybe that was an unrealistic expectation, but they have taken down one big, high-performing team. So is this their opportunity to try and sort of get a few more notches in the belt?
Oh, 100%. I think if you looked at these two teams realistically at the start of the tournament, no one would have picked them to be in the semi-finals, although Bangladesh should, given their history, challenge and being in subcontinent conditions. Most people would have picked the Netherlands to finish last, I think. But actually, I think they've performed well above what people probably have. And to knock off South Africa was an incredible performance. Australia brought them back to reality a little bit. And Australia tend to play well against the smaller nations. But there's a whole heap to play for the Netherlands. And if they manage to tip over Bangladesh and then have a win, 3 wins out of a tournament of 9 games would be an incredible effort from them.
Absolutely. And what can they expect from this venue? Eden Gardens, such a storied cricket ground, used to be one of the biggest in the world. I mean, capacity's changed, but it's quite an occasion to play there, isn't it?
Oh, I had the privilege to play there in IPL. It's a fantastic ground. It is the history with it. It's small, straight boundaries with being a little bit square. They'll enjoy the occasion. It'll be hot and humid again. So I think you'd expect the Dutch to try and go through that same process, win the toss, bat, put pressure on Bangladesh and ask them to go out and chase down runs when there's a whole heap of pressure and expectation for them to win this game.
And which attack do you think the conditions will suit better?
Well, it's usually a pretty good batting wicket. I mean, the challenge for the Netherlands is always to play good spin bowling. We saw Adam Zampa come in against their lower order and run through them. It's the strength of Bangladesh's game is their spinners. They don't have the mystery spinners, they're finger spinners though. So, look, the Dutch's problem has been their batting, their top order batting. They have to score runs. They haven't during the tournament. And if they don't score runs again tomorrow, then 80 for 6, which they have been in most of the tournament, it's difficult to consistently then get to 250. So they need more production tomorrow.
Okay, so a case of the Dutch batters up against the Bangladesh bowlers at Eden Gardens. What a game that will be on a double-headed day at the World Cup. Please do catch all the action here on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Match Day and on the website.
Stunning looks, then swift.